Frank Skinner.
Radio.
So look, I'm sorry. I know I'm supposed to be like, the cynical comedian type about the royal wedding. I was working when the royal wedding was on.
Yeah.
I got home, my girlfriend had taped the ceremony, and then we had a row about the fact that she hadn't taped the balcony kiss. That's how I am about the royal wedding.
That's the best bit.
Yeah, I had a car waiting for me. I had to wait till 4 o'clock news on Sky and see the balcony kiss before I went.
Well, you've got to see the kiss.
Oh God, both kisses. The first one, I felt it was one of those slightly dry lip kisses, and they said, let's do that again. I was a bit dry lipped.
They did. Well, Andrew Neil complained about it. He said exactly that. He said, that wasn't long enough. They'll have to do that again. Horrible old uncle.
Oh, the idea of Andrew Neil as I'm going to go over there to Andrew Neil, our kissing expert. Horrible thought. All right,
So you loved it, Frank?
Yes,
the whole
I've
day?
watched. I didn't see it live, but I've seen all the highlights, and oh man, there's so much to talk about. I loved it.
What were your highlights?
Well, first of all, I think she's a complete babe, Kate. Can I say that? And she's a strong, independent, modern 21st century woman. I mean, look at that thing when he turned up when she was doing that, when she was coxing the rowing team for the charity rowing race, and he turned up after the split. And she jumped out the boat and swam right across.
That didn't really happen, Frank.
It happened in William and Kate the movie, and I'm seeing that as a kind of a documentary. That's one of the best Sunday afternoons I've ever spent. I was completely not bothered about the royal wedding. I watched William and Kate the movie, and I thought, now, these are my people. I know these people now. They're in my life.
No, you can't swim in rivers like that. You'd get Weil's disease. Or the rat's urine.
Oh, thanks for bringing us all down on a day like today. Weil's disease.
We're talking fairy tale wedding here, not rat urine. Oh, there was so much. I even got tense about the ring not quite going on.
Oh, that was a tense moment.
Even though I was watching a recording of it, and I knew if the ring hadn't gone, obviously there would have been just martial music on all the channels. It would have been like when the Queen Mother died if the ring hadn't gone on.
That was almost as tense as what will Gary Goldsmith be wearing.
Ah, Gary Goldsmith.
Who's Gary Goldsmith?
He's the black sheep.
I don't even think... Did you watch the royal wedding?
Yes, I did. I didn't see Gary Goldsmith. They weren't wearing name badges. They should have been. That would have been...
Am I right in saying that Prince William had the wrong hat on for that uniform?
Well, he had a sort of... Pete
of
Doherty back in the day. Red military jacket.
Everything was like red, and yeah, exactly. And then he had like a black... It was like he'd maybe stopped off for a cup of tea at London Zoo. One of the keepers had come in for a cup of tea, put his hat down on the same table. I imagine at about midday at London Zoo, someone was saying, Bill, how come you're wearing the red hat? And he said, what? Oh, blimey. How has that occurred? Yeah,
but David Beckham made a protocol mistake as well, because he put his OBE on the wrong lapel, didn't he?
Oh, did he?
Oh, come on, we've all done it.
I didn't mind, though, because, oh my God, how good-looking, Frank. I felt sick, he was so good. He looks CGI now, he's so good-looking. And it's...
Bex.
Yes, I felt like, even when you said the name, I felt like I was all overcome.
I've gone off Bex since he's become some mindless puppet for... The FA.
You've gone off him since he got so good looking. Jealous much?
No, it's always been.
No, he's got more ridiculous.
I liked him when he sort of did stuff like, played proper football. That's what I like.
No, I don't care.
And also, Prince William, he had Spurs on in Westminster Abbey.
Yes, I noticed that.
There was no
Harry had them as well.
Are we still talking football?
He had Spurs on. He had,
Really?
proper spinning... I imagine him at the party, a bit drunk, 11:30 at night, slicing pizza with his heels. I didn't mime then, but you're going to have to trust me on it. Those of you who watch this, those of you weirdos who watch this on the webcam, I'm not sure about you people. Actually, I think you look a bit... you're a bit of a Kate type.
That's the nicest thing you've ever said to me.
No, he was talking to me.
Yeah, you just like somebody who likes Harry Boateng Fastics. Do you know she's a big fan of Harry Boateng Fastics?
Yes, she likes
God, yeah. There's this one scene, right, when all the he's already said, just call me William, which was a bit of a... Actually, I'm back in the mood here.
Yes, didn't really happen.
And there are trees inside in the Abbey.
Bit shopping centre. Didn't that.
Yeah,
Frank.
I'm surprised they didn't have some hodded youths sitting onto them.
I thought
beer.
It's a bit Brent Cross, that.
The symbolism was, this looks nice today, but if you keep things in this enclosed environment, it will shrivel and die. Thought that was the imagery of the trees.
Oh, God.
Did I get that wrong?
Not only did he watch it, but he absorbed it on a spiritual level.
Someone's just texted in 886 that jacket was Zulu.
It was a bit
Yes,
Zulu.
it was.
Yeah,
Thank you, 886.
that's what
And the
Harry
sash.
said. Wait until you see the whites of her eyes. That's when they turned round.
Is that what he
Yeah, poor
okay.
thing I do.
Oh, is that why they sang Man of Allah? Because she came up the aisle. Oh, man, I thought the best bit, if she really wanted to make a name for herself, when they were doing the thing and he said, do you take this man, William, Harold, Louis, or whatever he was to be...
Philip Arthur Louis George.
Yeah. For richer, for poorer, she should have said, yeah, right, that's going to happen. And then she'd have been all around the world as a famous person. Anyway, I think I've got the royal wedding out of my system.
No.
Oh, okay.
131 says the trees inside were special branch.
That's brilliant. They're brilliant. Already our listeners are on top form.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
I mean, you can text us on 81215 about anything you like. We've probably already lost half the listeners who are just sick of the royal wedding, but not Frank.
No.
Oh, the ring, the tension of the ring.
You've even been watching it during the break.
I'm starting to think that they hadn't bought that ring specially for her. They just had a load of rings. I'm starting to think that the royal family are the people behind Cash for Your Gold. You send it to them, and they've just got loads of jiffy bags, and they say, "Can there be a ring in there?" Go on. They didn't measure it up. She's thin enough. Anything will go on.
The bit that melted my heart towards the whole thing was I was cynical about it, and then I read, and this might not be true, but I read that William gave her a special ring, like a secret one, as well as the one from his mum, an engagement ring beforehand that had inscribed on it, "My darling Princess Ordinary."
You've been watching that movie again.
Hold on a minute.
That's
My
true.
darling Princess Ordinary.
Frank, that's in the movie,
Well,
I
I'd
don't-
really like that. Well, I'd really loved if
Yeah.
someone gave me a ring that had the word ordinary on it. What?
It would all be off if I
Yeah, I
got it.
should think so as well. God.
Frank, we've had a
quite-
text
Oh,
in.
darling, you're so ordinary.
Frank, text in 707. I can't believe you haven't mentioned Beatrice's hat.
You see, the
Who
thing is,
stapled that on?
I like the wacky hat
I
thing.
did as well.
Yeah.
Eugenie and Beatrice, they looked absolutely psychotic, and I loved them.
Yeah. What does the
The
one?
mad makeup smeared everywhere. They looked brilliant. Stripper heels.
There's one of them. I can't remember which is which. They mingle into one, but one of them has got the most royal family face.
That's Beatrice.
Is that Beatrice? If you got all the royal family faces and put them in a blender and then put it in a face mould, that would be. It's got all that you can see. A bit of Andrew, a bit of the Queen, all in there. Now the massive mouth and all that. And the mouth. She has a mouth which actually goes off the edge of her face, a bit like she's wearing a big false mouth. But I like them because they've decided, no, we're not sexy. Let's go crazy. Let's be the crazy princesses.
Crazy gang.
Yeah.
In the olden days, they would have been locked in the tower, but it's nice they let them run free.
But it made
now.
a change as well. I like that they had slightly mental clothes on as well. Better than...
They were.
There was a lot of
crazy.
ice blue and taupe knocking around.
Oh,
Much
there's
as
a
I
lot of
like
taupe. What
yeah.
is that?
It's like a beigey colour, Frank. You know that colour?
Beigey. Nude.
Okay.
Bit
I don't
nude.
have time to explain these things to you people if you don't know.
Did you? There was a historian that they kept having on, a pretty young ginger lady historian who was called Kate Williams.
Oh, I know her.
Really?
I met her once.
Did you?
Yeah, she's the sexy historian.
Yeah.
Oh.
You know, Starkey's the grumpy historian. Sharma is the has he been in a fire historian. And she's the sexy historian, yeah.
And she's got the perfect name for the wedding,
Yeah,
Kate Williams.
I
It's
think
like-
she wasn't called Kate Williams before.
Was she not?
She
Did
was
you
called
change-
Diana Charles. Up until quite recently. Yeah, I'm starting to think that she's just some sort of cynic. She hangs around that deed poll office in a very suspicious and sly way. I'll tell you something as well. That sash that William wore,
Oh.
he had a sash across.
You're into the details,
Yeah,
Frank.
well, I'll tell you why I noticed it, 'cause it had the RAF wings on the top. It looked exactly like an international rescue sash as worn by the Thunderbirds
yeah.
people.
Yeah.
And I knew he worked in rescue. I'm starting to think he might be undercover for international rescue. He's got a bit of the, Tracy's look about him, like the enormous head and...
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
He has. There is something of that. hair's going there.
If I'm going to be absolutely honest,
Go on.
when I mean, the highlight for me was when they drove off in the sports car. I thought it was one of the sexiest, most 1960s. It was
Very
like,
cool.
oh man, it was like James Bond. That was just brilliant. But if I'm going to be and there's nothing perfect in life. As West Bromwich Albion manager Roy Hodgson said after a game, after we lost against Chelsea, he said that the Chinese always tell us that no tree grows all the way to heaven. I thought how brilliant for a football manager to say that. And that can be said of... the baldness did slightly spot the day.
Right.
It's slightly spot the day. When they were in the sports car, I thought...
day.
I want them to look like a beautiful, young, the perfect couple, and the baldness is just making me a little bit anxious around the shoulders, a bit tight at the shoulders.
I know what you mean. There is an element thinking if he'd have only done it when he was 24 and he looked like a Disney prince.
Yeah, exactly.
And it would have been
and if there's
perfect.
any young men here who's thinking of popping the question and they're going slightly thin, I think you can learn from this.
Do it now.
It's all right,
No.
Gareth's done it already.
Because those wedding
dare
pictures will be around for the rest of your life. And it just doesn't look as good. I'd have kept the hat on in the car. He probably thought that the wind will get under this peak. And off it'll be, and that'll be a terrible moment. But no, it impaired the day. Let's not say it spoilt it. It took 2% off.
This is Frank Skinner. Absolute Radio.
Frank, couple of texts in about the royal wedding. Darren.
On 8-12-15. Perhaps I should get a jingle that does that.
Don't you have one?
On 8-12-15. Something like that. Well, I'll give it a bit of thought. I mean, that's just a rough draft.
Why don't you get Marquis Smith to do one for you? 8, 12, 15.
He's not the sort of bloke who does a good turn in that manner.
I suspect you're right. He'll do it for a pack of fags, though, I reckon.
Yeah. But you can't get Wild Woodbine anymore.
Frank, did anyone see the black horse that bolted? It ran with the rest of the horses for a while, just like one of those riderless horses in the Grand National. That's from Darren. Did you see the horse?
You see, because I only saw the highlights, they didn't show that. Can you believe they didn't see that as a highlight? The horse throwing the bloke. But I do love that in the Grand National when the horse... Because I always imagine the horses, they don't want to run. They're being forced by these small men. And then the thing comes off and the horse goes, no, I'm actually of my own free will. Look at me. I might suddenly go left. Or stop. That's my business now. And the other horses are thinking, oh, I wish we didn't have the little man telling us what to do. Look at him, he's loving it. With his reins blowing free like... what was that song by Marianne Faithfull? The Eyes of Lucy Jordan when she through Paris in a sports car with the cool wind in her hair. That's what those horses are like. They're like people who are just... No, not like people. They're four-legged. They're quadrupeds. They're hairy quadrupeds. They're not at all like people. They just look happy. What was the question?
What is a horse? What is a horse?
Well, you'll find a horse is a horse, of course, unless the horse is a talking horse, and then, of course, the horse will be the amazing Mr.
There's another text.
Sorry, I'm a bit overexcited. The whole wedding thing has just took me to a high pitch.
I know.
Duncan from France said when I saw Beatrice...
Duncan from France needs to be more precise in his geographical...
He did include Cambrai. Cambrai? I don't know how to say it.
That's
so
in Wales.
No,
He was lying
it says
about
in
France.
Vie de bêtise.
Okay.
Yeah, you should know
This is
how
why
to
I didn't
pronounce
say the
these.
French names. Why should I? Okay.
Duncan's all over the place.
Yeah, but
Wales.
he knows all about
Anyway,
France.
what's Duncan
He
got
taught
to
me
say?
cooking, not language. When I saw Beatrice and Eugenie, I looked for their sister, Cinderella. Which is very
that's
cruel.
not kind.
I won't
He's
have
trying
that.
to bring down our monarchy, just because you haven't got your own one.
Yeah, what, in Wales?
French. He's
I think
French.
they share ours.
He's French.
Oh, he's French, yeah.
No, I won't have that. I thought they looked great. They were my favourite people at the whole wedding.
Yeah, I agree. They were. I thought much more Tim Burton's Alice in Wonderland than
But
They,
Lady Gaga.
yeah. No,
more
I bet they're great fun. Those two. Do you know what I mean?
Both of
In,
them.
in a sort of a cartoon world kind of a way.
When men describe you as great fun, that's never a good sign.
Well, oh god.
That means they get what they want on the first date. Normally.
Yeah, I think they look like great
I'm
fun.
sure if I went out for a night with Eugenie and Beatrice, I'm absolutely... Well, I probably would get what I wanted on the first date, because it would just be them dancing while I played the ukulele. See, they'd be up for that, whereas Kate's too beautiful to do something like that.
No.
That's true. That's true.
Good bones. Very good bones.
Frank, I'd like to talk to you about something.
What have you
Okay.
done? What have you done?
I think I need to play.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I like it.
But it was
because-
one of my favourite things next to the royal wedding that happened this week.
Okay. Well, you're just going to have to wait.
Okay.
I'm sorry, but, I've got job to do here. I have certain things in my contract. I have to play music. And I think that's fine. We all love music, because to live without my music would be impossible to do.
Frank on radio. Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio. Absolute Radio.
John in Hounslow has texted in, says, "Morning, Frank, Em and Gad. Did you see the cartwheeling verger?
Oh, yeah.
He was so relieved that it all went so well that he cartwheeled in the Abbey."
No, he wasn't so
Pleasant
relieved that it all
extreme.
went. The cartwheeling verger is a classical example of the Church of England wacky cleric. And he did the whole thing with one eye on YouTube. So,
Oh, don't be so angry. You're just angry because your friend Dr. Rowan Williams had a same-dress nightmare with the Queen. That's the only reason you're upset.
Well, what's she doing wearing yellow? Shouldn't, 85 beige. That's the rules.
Lavender, I think you'll find.
The cartwheeling verger. I love the wedding.
it.
I hate the cartwheeling verger. That's a fair summary of my attitude to the whole thing. The only really funny cartwheel I've ever seen was they did one of those big
St. Catherine?
motorcycle. I wasn't there for that, unfortunately. The motorcycle.
That's not what I heard.
They did a motorcycle stunt. And it went wrong, and the motorcyclist hit one of the stewards. It was one of those blokes wearing
yeah.
a white coat, and he spun about 3 times into the air. He wasn't badly injured, in case you're thinking I'm mocking his here, but it was a great bit of spontaneous cartwheeling. That was pre-YouTube. That guy was a purist.
Oh, you're so strict with cartwheeling.
Oh, yeah.
So, David
Rules
Cameron...
is rules on cartwheeling.
Fine. David Cameron...
I'd like to see him cartwheeling down a hill.
Well, he had his morning suit yesterday. He looked quite nice, actually. But, I enjoyed, nearly as much as the royal wedding, the little bit of the kerfuffle that he got himself into this week.
Ah, yes.
Do you know why? Because it involved Michael Winner, and I like things Winnerian.
Yes,
I really do.
I'm a fan of all things Winnerian.
Well, it was because, did you guys see this? He'd said to, is it Angela Eagle? He'd said, "Calm down, dear." I don't know if he said it in the voice. I hope he did.
Not quite, no, but he did it. He gestured towards it. Can I say, Michael Winner, of all the celebrities I've met, he's the one probably least in touch with reality. I remember I said to him, I had a little badge on, which was the 2 bowler hat. It was a lapel badge, big bowler hat, smaller bowler hat, and it's of the Laurel and Hardy Society. And he said, "Oh, do you like Laurel and Hardy?" I said, "Yeah, I'm a massive fan. I've loved them since I was a kid." He said, "You should talk to Marlon Brando." Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll
You
talk
got his
to-
number.
Yeah. Marlon, you're a big... I can't really talk now. Yeah.
really?
Michael. Yeah, but, it was... what did you think about that? It was a bit patronising.
No!
Was it
Because
sexist?
as Michael Winner himself said, the phrase which I created 10 years ago has become part of the nation's language. That's what Michael Winner said. And I love her
Yeah.
for saying that. Oh, come on, she's got to lighten up. She should have responded. She could have responded in a better way. She should have used an ad slogan back to him much better. But I don't know why. Did you think it was patronising?
Well, yeah. I don't think I'd call anyone dear at work, even in a quote.
Unless you're a park ranger.
Yeah, and even then, I think I'd probably have personal names for them. They've got feelings. You can have antlers and feelings. I think that's something we should all
that's
remember.
That's what Beatrice said yesterday.
Yes, and let's hope it's something that Kate and William remember when they're out with the shotguns.
Thing is, if he wasn't being sexist, then he was just being one of those people who quotes ad slogans.
Exactly.
Which is worse, because it means he's
Well,
an
that's
idiot.
true.
But he could have been a bit more original. It'd been brilliant if he'd have gone meow 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 meow. Then I would have thought maybe I'll vote for Conservatives after this. This is a great turning point. But no.
Yeah,
I
but
have
at
to
least
say, in defence of people who do quote ad slogans, which I admit it is a pretty bad thing to do.
Simple. Someone put that in an
Simples.
email to me the other day.
Oh dear.
They asked me, they said, "Will you do me this favour and I'll take you to lunch?" Simples. Deleted. Gone.
Did they
Never
spell
speak
it?
to him again.
No.
Gone.
They spell it
That's
with a
he's
double
gone.
E. That's the worst sin of all. Simples. You can't do that. But my nephew Jason did send me a text and said, "Sorry, I haven't been in touch for a long time. Work's been an absolute blur. Should have gone to Specsavers."
Oh.
And I did. I thought that was quite clever.
Okay. Well, let him off.
But should have gone to Specsavers is one of those.
People do it all the time.
What about if David Cameron had gone, when she's been heckled, and he'd go, "Oh, we buy any cars, we buy any car." That probably would have been. I don't know if he's legally allowed to do that. So maybe we should have a phone in this morning, because I can't feel my people. I need to feel my people in here with me. So, what are your favourite or least favourite ad slogans? What really winds you up when people use ad slogans?
Frank, I've got another one.
Oh, go on.
Does what it says on the tin. That Ronseal one, that's very Top Gear presenter.
That's true, that is quite bad. I think my worst one ever, and I probably say this because I heard Dr. Fox use it about 7 times in one show. And that's, "What's up?" Oh, he kept saying it, and I thought, yes, I was right about you. That's what I thought. So if you've got any thoughts on ad slogans, well, talk to Frank.
We only have this excerpt. This is Frank Skinner. Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily and Gareth.
So we've been having some people texting in annoying ad slogans people use. We've had one from 754. First series of 118 ads. A million Egypts insisted on shouting, "I've got your number," over and over ad nauseum.
Not to me, they didn't, sadly.
No, even though they almost certainly had. No, I don't remember I've got your number element of the 118
Oh, I remember that.
What
You remember the look, though, don't you?
I remember the David Bedford look.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ad nauseum is a good name
Google
for this,
him.
Okay.
Frank, Phil says, "My dad still says, 'Hello, Tosh, got a Toshiba,' whenever he sees my telly."
Respect.
I like whenever he sees my telly, well, that's the only telly he ever sees. As well.
I love a world where a telly's still a bit of a novelty. Oh, brilliant.
And 131 said, "I work for Tesco's, and any time someone discovers it, I get every little helps."
Of course.
I used to work in McDonald's, and we would always say, "Oh, I'm loving it," like in a slightly ironic way while we were working there.
You actually said it in there. That's good. They would have loved that.
Yeah. Except we didn't look like we were loving it.
I used to work at an insurance company, and we used to spend all day going... and people just got annoying. I say insurance. I'm not even sure what that advert is for.
I know
think
exactly
it's
what
an
it's for.
insurance. What's it for?
It's a bank.
Is it a bank? Well, you know, there you go. What's the point of having an advert with no words in it? Because could be an advert for ham.
Exactly.
They don't advertise ham as much as they did when I was a boy.
They're not.
No.
Yeah.
Or powdered egg. Now, did you have a row, Frank, with Kath this week? I thought you might have.
I had a bit of a row, yes. We had quite a big row.
I don't want to get involved, but I heard you had a row.
Well, yes. What happened was, Kath is my girlfriend. In case you're new to the show, because we've had a few nominations, chasers tuning in, and I love it. Welcome. Kath is my girlfriend, and we went shopping. Now, I don't normally go to the supermarket because I have people who do that, but they were on holiday, so we had to go to the supermarket. I had to do my own shopping. Has it come to this? So I spent 150 quid in the supermarket. I mean, come on. Hello?
What were you expecting us to say? That's not that much.
Well, the last time I went shopping, it was £37.50. Actually, £37 and 10 shillings.
But it's expensive.
It is expensive.
What
but
was that, a weekly shop then, was it?
It was kind of. It was about 4 or 5 days worth. Because there's bear in mind, it's not just me and Kath.
It's
at
not
home.
just the two of you.
Yeah, because I don't know if I've mentioned it before, but my girlfriend's sister is staying with us at the moment. So I was shopping for 3. Having said that, we asked her to do a list, and it was basically just Cheerios.
She had to do her own list, like Big Brother or something. That's a bit weird.
Yeah, I don't want to impose my food taste.
Cheerios, you giving her hints that it's time to leave.
Exactly. I got 16 boxes of Cheerios, which I assembled around the spare room. So anyway, I got back, and she said, "Oh, I drove us there. I paid. I was the man. I was the hunter-gatherer." So
driver payer.
So I got back. She said, "I'll make you a cup of tea." I said, "Oh, lovely." I settled down to.
Kath said this.
Yeah, I settled down to watch Britain's Got Talent. And Kath came back with a cup of tea, and it looked a bit of an odd collar to me. And also there was a knife in it.
Oh dear.
There was a knife.
Sort of Don Corleone.
Exactly. I mean, what was it? Some sort of veiled threat?
Was the blade facing upwards, or...?
Yeah, no, the blade was in and the handle
I
was
think
sticking
that's
out.
what he did to potential victims. Honestly, I've heard something like that. It's a mafia thing. Honestly.
If you can imagine a very domestic version of the sword in the stove. It was like that. And it was one of those knives, I don't know what the official name is, but the one that you'd use for butter spreading.
A butter knife, yeah?
Yeah. Is that what they're called? Because
Yeah.
you don't want a very
Butter
sharp
knife,
knife. You
yeah.
don't want a sharp, especially if it's a serrated edge. I don't know if you've ever spread butter with a
Yeah.
serrated edge knife, but you get. It looks like a ploughed field. The sandwich. I feel I should be eating raw vegetables on it. So anyway, and then when I tasted it, I said, "This tastes strange," and I thought maybe there was something left on the knife. Maybe it's just in soak.
Yeah.
The knife. She said, I thought I'd use up the UHT. Now, I've just spent £150 at the supermarket. Can I say, I've had 3 Sony nominations, I've got my own TV show, I have international representation, I have to come home, I have to drink tea made with UHT from a mug that I have to stir with a knife? This was the nature of my speech. It was like Look Back in Anger with Richard Burton. I gave an enormous rags to riches impassioned speech. I have fought my guts out to get away from drinking UHT that I have to stir with a knife. And off it, I was absolute. I was a martyr.
You were off like the horse at the wedding.
Oh, man, it was... is that going to become a new phrase?
How come you had UHT in the house?
Well,
Were you
exactly. And the whole idea of I wanted to use it up. Like, you know, UHT, it ain't going nowhere. Let's face it. We could have said that'll do when we had people around at Christmas, and the UHT would have been all right.
Frank, 437, she was making you a knife cup of tea.
And she said to me, she said, I made you that cup of tea. Like, she was the martyr. She almost said, in brackets, was from scratch, I felt. I made you that cup of tea with no assistance. Oh, it got very...
Oh, Frank.
tense.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio. Frank Skinner. Absolute Radio.
I know, but why a knife? There was, obviously there weren't any clean spoons, but there were forks. Surely a fork... To me, the fork is the next of kin of the spoon.
really?
Oh, that's infinitely preferable. A fork.
Well, a fork is just... It's an aerated spoon. I've always thought that.
Oh, really?
A knife is not... It's not the
suppose
same
you're right.
species. Well, OK, it's cutlery.
You could conceivably eat a moose with a fork, but not with a knife. That's how I judge it.
If I was going to eat a moose, I'd just break the antlers off and scoop.
But Frank, we have had a text in 796. Be thankful, Frank, she's keeping you grounded. Well, I'm inclined to agree with that.
Grounded?
I have to say.
UHT milk and stirring with a knife is not... That's subterranean.
Yeah, but it's tapped into your childhood issues.
Well, it
That's
has.
what it is.
Yeah.
I'm
Clearly.
sorry, but...
I don't have a problem with UHT milk.
I've done my time in UHT hell. And now, we grew up on Stera, which was like the early version of UHT milk. It used to come in a sort of swan-necked glass bottle. And that
So it's
was...
short for sterilised.
Yes. No, short for Stella McCartney. Stupid. Anyway, you could... The big advert with Stera is because a lot of us didn't have fridges. You didn't have to put it in a fridge. It would keep fresh. You could just leave it on the side. UHT, you could leave in your will, and it would last.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
I'm afraid it's caused some controversy, this knife tea incident.
Well, it certainly did in our house. I don't think we spoke for 24 hours on the strength of it.
Well, Bill says, Frank, simple solution, make your own tea.
Well, yeah, actually, that was a solution that came up during the argument, if I remember rightly.
Good.
Along with, I'll never, ever make you another cup of tea as long as I live, was another one.
That's good.
Another lie. Maybe about 4 since then.
009 says, stir with a knife and you stir up strife.
I didn't.
Apparently, yeah.
I didn't know that. Is that
Yeah,
that's
I
not
think
one they've made up?
That's a real one.
Well, that's
That
I
is
mean,
true.
you wouldn't think that's one that's used that often. I'm glad I've given that bloke an opportunity. Is it a bloke or a woman, or is it just a number?
009.
009 sounds like a man. Yeah, although perhaps the 00 suggests some sort of breastage. Who can say?
Frank.
Sorry.
Yeah, definitely.
You're just trying to. I like to think there's something in the number. It's a numerological approach. We instead give their names. They're like brothers and sisters to me. I want to know who they are.
Well, it's Gareth. Gareth started it. You see, they've got very into this whole number thing.
Yeah, but it's a bit like The Prisoner. I am not a number.
I liked. You sounded a bit like Anne Robinson there, which is good because you did.
Yeah,
I am not a number.
Her and Patrick McGowan were they were made from the same mould. I think we'd all agree that. She looks like she was made from mould. 131.
Has the knife tea incident been laid to rest yet?
See, that's the other thing that worried me is that if it had been, you never know how sharp those knives are. And the bag was
One
still
way
in.
to
I
find
didn't
out.
mention that, by the way. The bag was still in the cop.
Oh, you didn't mention that.
No, I mean,
don't want a knife
Do
near
you
the
know, I
bag.
was totally on Kathy's side, half an am. In this instance, that the bag is tipping things not in her favour.
Well, and the thing is, I didn't know the bag was in because we'd already had the row, and I thought I'll have a go at this cup of tea rather than make one myself, even though there was a fresh pint I'd just bought in the fridge. So I drank it down a bit. There was the tip of the bag. The bag operated like an iceberg off and 2/3 below the surface, and I could see it was sitting on the edge of the knife, like an enormous turkey on a narrow
big
wire
boulder.
fence. Yeah, that could have split that bag in two, and then I could have choked. What about that?
Exactly.
It wouldn't even be sitting here now talking about
But
it.
you know what, Frank? Let it go.
Okay.
Okay? Instead, I would like to talk about Anne Robinson, because apparently she's leaving The Weakest Link.
Good.
So, Frank, it's
I
a
have
bit
to say,
aggressive.
I really don't. A face contorted by vanity and spite.
How dare you?
The Daily Express. I really do. I like all celebrities in one way or another, either because their terribleness is amusing or whatever, but there's a terrible coldness about Anne. I imagine she stirs everything with a knife.
Leather jacket over the age of 60.
Is she over the age of 60?
Oh, I'm sure she is. How old is the woman, Gareth? Have you any idea?
I have no idea.
Oh.
Looks like she stared her face with a knife.
Whoa. Whoa.
Whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. But I know you don't like her, Frank, but the good thing about her departure, another good thing about her departure, is that they reveal some of the worst ever answers on the show. You know, sometimes people say such stupid things in those situations, and some of them I really enjoyed. So, for example, what is David Blunkett's current occupation? Blind.
Yes.
Name the long-running TV series
fills
about
the hours.
pensioners.
So sorry, long-running...
Name the long-running TV series about pensioners. Last of the Mohicans.
But if you think now how old the Mohicans are... Actually, you see very few cowboy films with Red Indian pensioners. Can you say Red Indian?
No.
Hold on, just...
Native American.
With Native American, it's not as good, is it?
No, I know.
No.
But nor is
Native American-
Prince William's hair. What can you do? Things move on, times change. Where was the recent Winter Olympics held? Taunton.
Good. Which part of the human body is closest to the floor when we are walking? The head.
And my favourite, what tea are people in a house paying to a landlord? Terrorist.
I like it when people get things wrong.
Yes.
But a little girl in one of my wife's classes, she's a teacher, she thought The Weakest Link was called The Winky Slink.
I like that.
Because Anne Robinson winks.
Right.
She thought it was called You Are the Winky Slink. Goodbye.
The Winky Slink.
The Winky Slink.
But, I mean, surely if that was the case, she'd say, I am the Winky Slink.
She is very much the Winky Slink.
Well,
The Winky Slink.
yeah.
Very Winky Slink, that one.
I don't know quite what a slink is, but...
I don't know, but if the cap fits.
What she is.
yes.
Frank, do you know what, though?
The cap doesn't fit now because her head's gone down 3 sizes. The
I
operations.
don't want to judge those people too harshly.
No.
Because I played a board game with my godchildren this week, and there was some
Oh,
extraordinary...
I always use counters. you were in some Alice in Wonderland type setup.
There were some extraordinary answers flying around. You were a clue. At one point, you were a clue.
I was a clue.
Yes, you
oh,
were a
God,
clue.
what was the answer?
Well, do you know the board game Articulate?
No.
Oh, dear. Just to
I
recap
do.
very briefly. So, you have to describe something. So, for example, if I said to you, and you would have to guess it, so I'd say, Absolute Radio DJ, first name, same as Michael Jackson's Rat.
Ben Jones.
Very good.
Okay, yeah.
You're getting this. Exactly. That's articulate. The trouble is, with my godchildren, they're so young they haven't heard of any of these people.
Haven't heard of Ben Jones?
Well, not Ben Jones. He's not inarticulate. But Frank Spencer...
He's an arrow. The thing is, that game, I used to play that game with bits of paper
Yes,
in dressing
exactly.
rooms at comedy clubs, and somebody thought, I'm going to turn this into a
Yeah.
board game and make money out of it.
They've made money.
I mean, what next? Are we going to buy a hopscotch kit? Not
But
Frank.
My goddaughter didn't know who Frank Spencer was, clearly, because the clue she gave was something Skinner, for the first name, Cash Dis. Cash dispenser.
Oh, I
Frank
see.
Si-
I would have thought
how
it was
difficult
Cash
is that to guess? Something Skinner, Cash Dis.
I think that's quite difficult.
How do you get to Frank Spencer after that?
I was imagining that sounds like some bloke who was called Skinner, who
Yeah.
was maybe an economist who was anti-cash and used to diss it. See, I'd be into a whole elaborate. I'm going to have to play the fall, and we'll
Okay.
come back to your ridiculous game.
This is Frank Skinner. Absolute Radio.
So ads that people say. That's sort of-
Ads that people say.
This is an anagram of this morning's phone. You have to put it in the right order. We're on about slogans from
Yeah.
ads that
That's
people
right.
use in normal
Yeah.
conversation
what
and
I
wind
was
you
getting
up.
at.
For example, I've thought of one, Frank. First class return to Dottingham. Do you remember that? It shows my age.
I tell you, that was by the Peter Cleal, was he called, who played
Oh.
Duffy in
Very
Play
good.
Sir.
There you go. Very
Doffy.
good. That's for tunes or something.
Yeah, a third class return to Dottingham.
Yeah.
It's a guitar advert.
Yeah.
So people would shout that at you if you had a cold.
Yeah.
Yeah, whenever anyone says Accrington Stanley, you go, Accrington Stanley, who are they? Exactly. But
Beautiful it was. I could have been. I was almost on a ferry across the Mersey.
Dave Cornwall, originally from Halifax, says, "Morning, can't stop my saying, course you can, Malcolm." Which advert is it from? Whenever someone says, my dad says that whenever he says Malcolm, he
That
says,
must.
course you can,
Oh, does it?
Malcolm.
Well, that must have been a cold cure because she used to say, "Oh, Malcolm," and the mother, and then this guy would be going, "Oh, Mum," and he got some sort of heavy nose cold thing. That
Some
was
sort
that'd
of
be
cold
one.
remedy.
There used to be, I seem to remember, quite a lot of adverts for cold stuff, and that doesn't happen anymore.
They didn't have flu
It's
jabs
all
or anything.
computers now, isn't it?
So anyway, do you want to hear more about my game?
Oh, I would, yes.
So
Who were you
after,
playing with? Your nieces?
my goddaughters.
Oh, okay.
So after something Skinner Cash Dis gate, as I call it,
Yes.
then my goddaughter was trying to get me to guess someone. So she's describing him. She says, "Oh my God, it's that really hot guy." I said, "Well, it could be anyone. I don't know. You're gonna have to give me a bit more." "No, he's amazing. The really good-looking one." I said, "David Beckham." No. "No, he's in a film. He's in that film." "Ashton Kutcher." No. Carries on. Turns out it's Mr. Spock. "He's not hot." I said, "What, Leonard Nimoy?" "No, apparently in the new one, it's some really hot guy playing it."
Yes, Leonard Nimoy was, I think, many adjectives over the years have been used for Leonard Nimoy, but not hot, I don't think. Or was that time that they flew into the sun accidentally?
And then Frank, she had to describe an owl to me, and she said, "The thing that delivers mail and Harry Potter." I don't know what that is.
No, that's quite
Owls,
tricky.
Yeah,
one.
I said a
I get
postman with a
that.
pointy hat. I don't know. I've never read it or seen it.
I was. I like the fact that I was a clue, though. I find that makes
You
me
were a clue,
proud.
it was good.
I think it's always better to. That's when you know you've arrived. When you're in. I remember I was the clue in the Mirror quiz word.
Oh,
I
were
felt
you?
so proud.
Or did you get a centre square photo?
No, they don't do that in the Mirror quiz
Oh,
word. The
okay.
Mirror quiz. You're thinking puzzler.
Yes, I am.
Now, Mirror quiz word is I don't know what the Mirror quiz word is. A strange. You know how Ken Barlow is supposed to have gone to university in Coronation Street.
Oh.
And in the pub, they saw him as this kind of weird. If ever there was anything odd what came up in conversation, that's someone would say, "Here, Ken, you went to university." He was seen as some weirdo freak brain boy.
A bit like Graham Lasso.
Yeah, well, exactly. Well, the Mirror quiz word is a bit like that because it's in the Mirror, which I think, is a red top tabloid, and it's the most difficult crossword. It's like there's questions about classical music. I mean, and then there'll be one about golf, and then came second in women's javelin in the 1964 Olympic. I mean, the most difficult. It's in the Mirror. I maintain it's never been completed by anyone.
Oh.
I got within one clue of it once, one of the proudest moments of my life. And that was a postal district in New Zealand. I couldn't... I mean, give us a chance. But absolutely brilliant. Mirror quiz word, look it up. It's in every day. I'm not here to sell newspapers, but I am here to sell knowledge.
Frank on radio. Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio. Absolute Radio.
You can text us on 81215, and it
Yeah.
can be about what we were talking about, which was about people using advertising slogans in everyday life, a la David Cameron and his Calm Down Dear. Or it can be about anything you like. It could be
Yeah.
about paint shades.
Could be about all sorts.
Whether you like Odin Nil, for example.
Someone, Frank, has just texted him, maybe Kath was playing a board game with you, Frank, and her answer was Earl Grey with the dagger in the teacup. Which I like.
In case you've just tuned in, I was talking about the fact that my girlfriend gave me a cup of tea with UHT milk and a knife to stir it. And I think it did stir it, big time. It's that's how I imagine sort of Jack Sparrow stirs his tea.
Jim has texted in, said, proper excuse to text you. Of course you can, Malcolm, was from a Viccinex nasal spray ad, and by an almost interesting coincidence, I used that very expression in a text this week, and was trying to work out where it was from. I shall sleep better forthwith.
Well, thank you very much for that. Of course you can, Malcolm. No, Mum.
So,
anyway.
Michelle Heaton was in the paper this week. Do you remember Michelle Heaton?
Yeah, she used to be in that. What was that fabulous reality TV?
Well, she was Liberty X.
Yeah, but what was that one? Scott Thingy.
Yes, I know. Lisa Scott Lee.
Yeah, she was an occasional character in that, Michelle Heaton.
Yeah, I remember.
really?
It.
Yeah.
That was
And
before
she's
you got
from-
Sky.
Is she back? Has she bounced back?
Well, she's on holiday,
Oh, well.
so must be doing
I
all
think
right
she's
for herself.
Been on holiday for about 7 years.
And she's wearing a bikini.
Okay, well, she was an attractive woman.
Yeah, no, and she's looking. She's
I mean,
looking
she
very
ain't no
hot.
Kate Middleton, but she's attractive, I'd say. She's got those tattoos. You know those tattoos that are mainly writing?
Oh, yeah.
She's got those tattoos.
She had something on her
Does she have a
stomach,
Gary
which
Goldsmith, which I like? If you spend, God will send.
I don't know what they are, but they're quite... it's almost like these people, if I may use that phrase, are so fascinated at the idea that anyone can do double writing that they want it immortalised. Anyway, what's she been up to?
Well, her husband has tweeted a picture of her in a bikini and said, "Wifey is so hot." So he's
Oh, that's horrible.
That's
with
funny
it.
because I texted a picture of my girlfriend and I put knifey. So I think what's happened is the tea. It's taken the heat from the tea. It's a metal handle. I had no chance.
I don't like people that call their girlfriend. I
don't
don't
like
like
wifey.
wifey. It's horrible.
It's nice that he still thinks his wife is hot, though.
Yeah, but don't call her wifey.
No, I know what you mean.
Oh, awful. It's almost at my worst is men that go, my lady. Oh!
Did they say that?
Yes, I've heard like a 70s DJ say that about a Swedish air hostess. My lady.
I've never... Oh, I don't know. My dad used to call my mum wife.
What do you mean? In what?
Wife.
Is it context?
He'd say, like, you know, what time we having dinner, wife?
He did not.
He did, yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
Well,
where's me armlets, wife? He used to say. He
Armlets?
used to wear armlets.
what are they?
What's that?
They're like elasticated things with a metal finish that you wear on your over your biceps, and they give you a nice cuff line below
Is
the
that
jacket.
right?
Yeah.
Where's me armlets?
He was a Mississippi gambler, which wasn't easy in West Bromwich.
So how
You
do
couldn't get those steamers up the canal.
how do you refer to Kath then? You just say my girlfriend, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, it's tricky, isn't it? Because when you're my age, girlfriend does... I mean, that sounds a bit strange.
Oh, I don't think so, Frank.
I don't want people thinking I'm going out with some, flibbity gibbet 20-year-old.
I think that's the nice way. That's the nice way to refer to. Because partner sounds a bit like I don't know. You're in business
Well, that
together.
would make people ask other questions as well. I
Yeah.
think.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, but if I said my partner David Furnish, that's what I think. When I hear the word partner, I think David Furnish. To me, he's the only partner, and everyone else are just imitators. I always like when people say my squeeze.
Yeah, I don't mind that.
She's
I
my
quite
squeeze.
like that.
But the thing is, I mean, me and Kath have been on and off. If
9 on 10.
Yeah, if you count the knife in the cob off for about a day. on and off for 10 years or so, you know. So squeeze. I wonder if I could extend that and say call her my embrace, which suggests an advance. You don't like that?
Gareth doesn't like it.
My enfold. My
No,
enfold.
it's too intimate.
What do you say, Gareth? Well, you say my wife.
Yeah, my wife. Well, you do feel funny saying my wife. I'm in the awkward situation at the moment.
Yeah, but what do you say to her?
Yeah.
To her, I would say Laws.
Laws?
Laws, for short for Laura. Which is
Okay.
her name.
Oh.
But it's awkward at the moment because we've got a little boy. Like, it's this thing where I've started in front of him, I have to refer to her as mummy.
Yes, that does
Yes.
happen, of course.
That's a little bit creepy, isn't
I
it?
don't like calling her mummy.
No, I
It's
don't
not what
know.
I've heard.
It seems strangely apt.
Frank- I know,
No
I
idea
snapped
what
at
you
Gareth
mean.
this morning. I'd like to apologise on air.
Oh, really?
Did you, what,
Well, you
did
said-
he call you mummy?
No, he said, have you got that newspaper or something? I said, I don't know, I'm not Laura. I snapped, I know.
I did say thank goodness.
I know you did. And I
So
said, yeah.
I think that's okay. You can either have an apology or a comeback.
Frank, 131. I met my missus on the internet, so I call her Wi-Fi.
I met my girlfriend on the internet. I call her Fong Hai Hee.
This is Frank Skinner. Absolute Radio.
Frank, we were talking about Michelle Heaton, rather alarmingly. And
Someone's got to.
yeah, we were asking people, words I never thought I'd say.
I think we're the only show on Amsterdam that
Yeah.
doesn't talk about Michelle Heaton on a regular basis. It's
You could be
about
wrong.
time we
Oh, Ronnie's all over her.
joined in. No, I don't think he is.
Oh, okay. Wifey's so hot, is what he said. That's
What?
how he talks.
Ronnie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
514.
I don't think he says wife is so hot. Honestly, I think there was a rift. We never
yeah.
mention it at Absolute Radio. The rift. But
Be the
we had
menopause.
a memo around that we weren't allowed to watch that series of Strictly. Very, very strict on it. And also, we're not allowed to fraternise with the Crow Man from Wales or Gummidge, because apparently him and Ronnie would have a long-running feud.
He stole his look. You don't want someone stealing your look.
I think he actually drove him out of at least 3 fields.
But we were talking about, because he referred to her as wifey, we were talking about monikers or ways in which you would refer to your partner.
I'm liking your new reader's start here.
Yeah,
Summary.
I do. I like to sum it up for them.
Fabulous.
514. I refer to my partner as baby mother.
That's nice.
Baby mother. But is this
Baby
to her
mother.
face? Would he say, baby mother?
Yeah. In a your dad stuff.
Is this UHT? Is that what he'd say?
Well, 424 says my whole family always refer to each other by their relationship to them. So wife, son, etc. That's from Tim. I like that.
That is brilliant. That's, it's like a Scandinavian movie.
It's brilliant.
131 says presumably Gareth will always stay with his wife, which will make him law-abiding.
I mean, this
like
is...
it.
They're pon...
I'm going to write
They're
that
pon
down.
lovers.
Probably going to use
Our
that.
people. You're going to use that?
Probably.
Okay, you can have it on a T-shirt.
Lovely. And we've also had brilliant tweets this week. Or people have
haven't.
been tweeting.
No, you don't do Twitter.
I don't have no trot with it.
Well, you should maybe you should monitor it, because there's been all sorts of
Maybe
gossip
you should
flying.
monitor it. You know what I'm saying?
All sorts of gossip flying around on the Twitter about you,
Well,
Frank.
that's it with Twitter. It is gossip, isn't it?
Breaking news: Wittgenstein revealed to have had love affair with Frank Skinner.
Ah, yes.
You have not mentioned that.
No, I did.
I was a bit horrified when I saw that.
Yeah.
A few people have pointed that out to me. Look, I was young. I didn't know what I was doing. I was in an Austrian pub in. It'd be about. I'd say it'd be about 1920. Anyway, he was a bit drunk. He was arguing about logical positivism with a couple of guys, and my knees just went. I don't know what it was. No, he was. Wittgenstein. Some of you'll know from the old Monty Python song. And Wittgenstein was a bearded swine. He was always sloshed a Schlegel. That one. Yeah, he had a gay lover called Francis Skinner, and they've only really found out this week, so they found a load of letters.
What a brilliant namesake.
It is, yeah. I was actually quite proud about it, because although I am a heterosexual myself, I always think that homosexuals have got a bit more coolness about them. They seem a bit like, they're a bit edgy and a bit different and a bit independent. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I'm getting some secondary coolness
Wittgenstein said if a lion could talk, we couldn't understand him. That was
If a
him.
lion
Really?
could talk, we couldn't understand him.
Yeah,
It depends what language he was talking.
yeah.
I imagine it would be some obscure African tribal tongue.
I
which
know what he
picked up
says.
on
Hakuna
the road.
Matata, that's what they say in the animal kingdom.
Too growly.
Well, I found Lenny the lion had perfect diction. I listened to him for many years.
Frank, we had another tweet saying Frank Skinner looks...
Hold on, it's Sandy wartime.
Oh,
That
sorry.
stops everything. Sandy wartime. If old age pensioner just tuned in, it's wartime. Oh my God, they'll be down underneath the shed. God bless them for their joining in us.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio. Frank Skinner. Absolute Radio.
It looked like the Duke of Edinburgh was singing along to it on the telly.
Yeah, can you not tell people that we have the telly on? It's very unprofessional.
You watch it
Did
sometimes.
you know that Kate Middleton was voted the third best-looking royal of all time?
Who are the other two?
I think it was Princess Grace and I can't remember.
So of any
Shall I dive in?
nationality?
Yeah, and but of all time,
Does Princess Anne not get a look in?
no.
I've heard Guinevere was hot.
Yeah, but that's it. They shouldn't have done of all
No.
time. I mean, you know, there's no surviving pictures of Eric Bloodaxe.
No.
So for me, the whole vote's a sham. Anyway,
Frank, remember I began to read you a tweet and then Sandy Waugh got involved.
yes,
But the other tweet I wanted to read you said...
she's got a job to do, like everyone else.
The other tweet I wanted to read said, Frank Skinner looks dead cute on the Walker's crisp packets. Massive eyes.
Well,
Wow.
massive eye, I think it said. I've worked out recently that one of my eyes is getting a bit bigger than the other, and it's terrifying.
You're like someone on an Eels album cover.
Yes, well, just look like an eel. No, it's that's lovely, isn't it?
Yeah.
I
I don't
like
know
that.
if she means cute as in attractive or cute like a woodland animal. Cute. Either way is quite nice.
Yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy to be slightly Sylvanian if it comes down. It reminds me a little bit when Michael Caine apparently saw his wife. Is it Shakira? He saw her doing a coffee advert on the telly. I remember the advert as well. She's very bossy and low-cut in it, shaking coffee about. And he said to his agent, "I really fancy this woman on the telly, but she's Brazilian. I'll never get to meet." And he said, "No, she's not Brazilian. She lives in Ealing." And they met and married. It's all lovely.
Well, why does this remind you of that?
Well,
Massive eyes.
because I'm thinking that this woman probably, is doing a similar thing. She thinks this bloke's unobtainable. He wears oven gloves all the time. He probably has severe scarring on the hands.
You're letting her know you're available.
No, I'm not at all available. That's what spoils it. But yes, I am very big-eyed on it. I should say that the people from Walker's did slightly tease my thyroid just before the photo to get that look.
Explains it.
Yeah, there was a probe used. I was all right with it. You got to make an effort. The other day, I went out and I actually realised that I had the shirt. I know I'm wearing a blue shirt on the crisp packet.
Yes.
Right. In case you don't know, I was recently on a crisp packet for Comic Relief. And I realised I was wearing, because they gave me the shirt at the end of the
did
end of
they?
the thing. Yeah, it's a bit of a treat. And I thought, oh, I got my crisp. I hope no one noticed. You know those dreams that people have when they're out in the packet, in the crisp packet shirt, and they suddenly realise it and they're in the street. It was that. And I thought, if someone comes over and says, "Oh, isn't that the shirt you wore on the crisp packet?" I'm going to feel
No,
cheap.
that's exactly what they want. It's a bit like if you saw Prince William, I'd want him to wear the Pete Doherty red military jacket because that's how he is in my mind's eye now. I think that's a very rewarding experience, seeing you in the blue shirt.
Okay. See, if I saw Prince William, I'd want him to be wearing a big Elvis wig. Just to make him think, oh, God, I've had enough of the jibes. Yes, I kind of like the... I don't often get the word cute as an adjective, so I'm going with that. That was my moment.
I'm
Lovely.
pleased for you.
Rob from the West Midlands says he calls his wife Wifey-o, and she calls him Hubby-o.
I don't know how he gets away with that in the West Midlands. It's hard to imagine. Are you trying to tell me something, Emma? Are we nearing the end?
We are.
Oh.
We didn't even get to talk about Kate Middleton's errant uncle Gary Goldsmith.
No. Well, that's
And he's
maybe another week.
Okay.
What, the man from Maze on the Bang Bang?
With the sunbed tan.
Do you know he's got a house in wherever he lives, Spain or something, called
Yeah.
Maze on the Bang Bang?
He has.
Yeah, which is
dear.
a sort of house of sex,
Yeah.
Oh,
really?
Gary. Gary, leave it. He did look like a proper British bloke at the wedding, though. Frock suit, shaved head. That's what you want at a wedding, isn't it?
I wish he had wraparound shades. I'm sure he did.
Oh, God, yeah, he had wraps of all kinds. So anyway, if you want to listen to Not the Weekend podcast, which is a podcast we do separate from this show, that'll be available for download on Wednesday. Available for download. It's all computers now. Ben Jones is next. I can't think of any other information that you need, really, other than it's been beautiful talking to you as ever. Love is in the air. Get out there. Enjoy the sunshine. And I love you all. Tina, bring me the axe.
This is Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.